At the end of a long day, many people don't think twice about grabbing a beer or two or three, or maybe it's a bottle of wine or two or three each week. And while every journey is different, what my guest talks about today is approaching alcohol with intention in a way that works for you. So today we talk about the very gray area between drinking and being completely sober in what she calls sober-ish, which I want to make very clear is extremely different from the sober journey. And wherever you are in your journey, you are supported, you're honored, and you are celebrated. And I know you want to be an educator who lives with more peace and ease and calm, but you might never believe that it was actually possible for you. Well, Empowered Educator Workshops will show you the way, going beyond the typical social emotional content, because here you are going to get the concrete strategies you need to live the life you want, both at work and at home. So grab your seat at the next Empowered Educator Workshop by going to empowerededucator.com/workshops. Remember all the passion and vision you had when you first went into teaching? Feeling like building young minds and creating community through your work would make a lasting impact on this world? Well, those days may feel like they're behind you now because you're exhausted, stressed, and overwhelmed and frustrated. But I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be like this. In fact, the love of teaching never really went away, but it absolutely needs transformation. Welcome to the Take Notes podcast. I'm Jen Rafferty, former music teacher, mom of two, and certified emotional intelligence practitioner, and I'm here to light the way for you. In order to create a generational change for our kids, we need to shift the paradigm away from the perpetual stress and overwhelm and into a life of joy and fulfillment. This is Education 2.0, where you become the priority, shift how you live your life, and how you show up both at work and at home. So take a sip of steamy morning coffee and grab your notebook. It's time to take notes. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another incredible episode of Take Notes. I am here today with a fabulous human. This is Holly Krivokapich, and she is a life coach and is now on this journey and is on fire to lead a soberish uprising for high performers out there so they can change their life without a cocktail in their hand. And Holly, I am just so grateful that you are here talking with me on the podcast today. Thank you.
Jen, I have the chills. Thank you for the introduction. And I would say I'd talk to you about anything just for fun. So thank you for having me.
Yes, that's the thing. When I have people on here, it's like the audience gets to listen to this really intimate conversation sometimes with some good friends, and we can just really be vulnerable here and share that with other people listening. So everyone listening, get a little sneak peek.
I love it. Love it. And I love the work you do. I come from a family of educators, and it's so important the work that you and all your community does. So thank you for showing up in this way.
Thank you. I received that. And I'm really excited to have this conversation because this is not something that people talk about, I think, ever. And maybe like they're in small pockets or even approaching a conversation about being soberish. Like, what is soberish to you? Let's maybe define that first. What does that mean, Holly?
That's a great question. Thanks for asking. It is an intentional way of approaching alcohol that works for you, right? And I think for soberish, it can mean Jen's definition of soberish is different than Holly's, is different than Brad's. But for me, it's really like being intentional with how alcohol is serving or not serving your life, and then making the decision to help it serve you in some way, which could be removing it. I added the ish in there because being sober felt super, super scary to me when I started this. To be 100% sober for the rest of my life felt like me, whatever, out like going to the moon. I was like, yeah, I don't think about that. So this sober, there's some freedom in it. There's some flexibility, and there's like accountability and intention. So it's a very long definition. I need to tighten that up a little bit, but that's kind of why sober-ish is like truly, truly so important to me.
Sure. Well, that makes so much sense to me too, because I think whenever we consider something that's like very absolute, it is very difficult to kind of wrap your brain around like, okay, well, now it's restrictive and limiting. And we know that that really goes against our biology. Like our brains don't like restriction. So it's almost, for some people, setting ourselves up for, I don't even want to use the word failure. There's not even a word. How would you describe that? I'm having trouble articulating myself with this.
Yeah. No, I think you kind of touched on that. Failure, I know, and we probably are very similar. Like there's no failure, right? We're experimenting. It's data. We're trying, right? There's very few things in our life that, love is absolute, like but even our partners aren't always absolute, right? And so I think to like jump into something that you're not even sure if you like it feels very scary, right? Because like to cut off, somebody was like, I heard this, it was an author. She has a book, Euphoria. I can send that to you. But it was like, you've got to date being sober before you know if you want to marry being sober, right? So it's like that piece of trying to be gluten-free or trying to work out a little, or you go on dates with your partner, right? It's that piece. So when it is so absolute, it's just too far to get there. It's just too much. And it's like anything. We don't go from sitting on the couch to running a 5K the next day. We just don't. Like we think we can, but we rarely works. So I think it's that baby step and that like, I'm going to try this out and see how it serves my life and then go from there.
Right. To me, I do equate it to like dieting. I've tried the vegan thing. I've tried the dairy-free thing. I've tried the gluten-free thing. And I eat all of those things now. And I do just want to put a caveat in here because for those people who are listening who either have been on a sober journey that is sober, not sober-ish, or who know people who have, I want to just validate that experience too and just make it very clear that like this is a different conversation. We are not talking about the sober journey. We are talking about a sober-ish journey. And I just want to make that clear moving forward that your experience is completely valid and we all support you in whatever you're doing for your life too.
Thank you for that. Yes, so important, right? There's people out there that, my brother's been sober almost 2 years, completely sober. And so I have this great admiration. And so thank you for pointing out because it is really important that this is not about that space. There are millions of people in that space and amazing leaders in that space. And like that, I'm so grateful for that. This is just a different space of exploration.
Yes. And that's, I think, a really important space because when people look at other folks who are on that sober journey, then it becomes very dichotomous where it's I either do that or I'm doing whatever I'm doing right now. And I think why this conversation in this space is important is because there is an in-between and we can kind of explore that and maybe make some more conscious decisions about what that looks like for us. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And that's why because I didn't see that out there, right? I saw either you continue to do what you're doing. I'm not a parent, I'm child-free by choice, but like it's mommy wine culture. It's girls' nights out. It's booze, 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 or it's like completely sober and you're going to AA meetings. I didn't see anything that was like, well, what if I don't want that lifestyle? But what if I don't know if I'm that? Like, where does that look? Or where is that?
Right. And so, yeah, let's talk about that because especially as teachers, at least for me in my experience, I'm going to talk about teacher experience for a minute, but it's really just everywhere because, it's payday Fridays, everyone would go meet at the bar, right? Or it was the baby showers or the office parties, or there's always, like you said, the mom wine things, the pain and sips, all of these things kind of revolve around alcohol. I live close to the Finger Lakes in New York, so it's wine country around here too. And it's just everywhere. For me, especially recently, because I've been kind of like soberish curious.
Love it. Love it.
I've found that it is very difficult being in these social situations, saying no thank you to a drink as a full grown adult. And then getting pushback of like, well, come on, Jen, like, let's, what do you mean no? And it's like, I said, no, that should be enough. We're not in high school anymore. So what does that look like for you? And how do you kind of coach people through moments like that?
And I think it ties into any decision that we make that isn't to mainstream culture, right? Like I get really uncomfortable. We've talked about this. I'm child-free by choice. It can really trigger people, right? It really bothers them that I chose not to have kids. And sometimes it really bothers me. I'm not choosing to drink. And so I think going back to that point of like, that's about them. That has zero to do with my choice. But that also starts, how do you coach people? Like you have to have an inner knowing, an inner intention of like, I'm not drinking. And no, thank you is a complete answer, right? But it can be hard, especially like if your community is drinking, if that's part of your culture, because that's how mine was. I don't remember going to social activities and not either thinking about what I was going to take to drink, having a drink. Like that was embedded in almost every single thing I did up to about a year and a half ago. But for me, it's like that crystal clear on like, why is this important to me, right? Why is it, for Jen, when you go into a social setting, I don't want to have a drink. Why not? Because I want to feel better tomorrow. Because I want to be totally present. Because it feels really good. Because I made a commitment to myself. Like it's so important to have those. And then you're just able to say, no, thank you. And I do this with my child-free stuff, is like, come back with curiosity. Why aren't you having a drink? I just don't want to. Like, why is it important for you that I have a drink? it can be a little scary, right? But kind of turn it back. Like, why? It does take some confidence. It does take some experience, but I've always found that's a great way to have that conversation of like, yeah, I'm just not like, what's intriguing to you that I'm not having a drink, or why is it important to you that I don't have a drink?
That's so powerful, because what you're doing there, and I felt that fully in my body when you said this, because I can think back on so many instances where I could have just asked that question if I knew that that was a question that was available to me. And then it would have either shut it down or really, like you said, had beautiful engagement with this other person and a conversation of like, well, why does it matter to you?
Yeah. You can drink all you want. I'm not taking your drinks away. I just don't want one.
Yeah. And I won't count how many you have either. Friends who count don't count. That is also me, right?
Right. And that's awesome. I love that. Friends that count don't count. That's great.
Yeah. I think that that's a beautiful way to explore this and then allow that other person to explore if they want to.
And I mean, it's okay to say no, thank you and change the conversation, right? If you're to a point you're really not comfortable, you're not super confident and knowing, right? Yeah, I'm just not drinking right now. No, thank you. So how was your day? How's your kid doing? Something, because we don't owe anybody anything, which we forget as humans, myself included.
Yeah, we sure do. So can you share a little bit about how you got to this place of even wanting to explore this soberish space?
So, as I mentioned, like I would have a drink at lunch. I loved like making dinner on Sunday afternoon, drinking wine. It was happy hours. It was dinners. I mean, I don't consider myself an alcoholic. I don't think I had a raging problem. I would get up, I would work out, I would go to work, everything, right? But like, I always knew it wasn't right. Like I always knew I deserved better, but I had a really hard time. I mean, I can't tell you how many times it was Sunday night, or I'm not drinking till the weekend. And then a Thursday happy hour would pop up, right? Or Katie would come home that's my wife, with a bottle of wine. I'm like, oh, sure. What the heck? It's Wednesday. I'll have one. And then it's two. And it was always letting myself down too, right? Which we don't think about. It's not just the physicalness of the booze. It's the waking up at 2 a.m, being like, I did it again. Why can't you keep a commitment to yourself? You can't do anything right. Like the self-loathing I would feel was awful. And so it was September. I think it was like September 12th. We were in beautiful little place around Top Texas for a girls trip. And it was so interesting, because I'd still been thinking, okay, I'm going to quit drinking, at least for a week, right? And so we were, it's a beautiful place. We were having like rosé at the pool. We had wine at night. We were gin and tonics. We were at this little bar. It's like a town, Round Top's like 50 people town. It's just precious. And I remember sitting there, and there's like 4 or 5 of us girls, and we had met this group of guys out there, and we were still having drinks like on the patio. And I remember it was almost like I was sitting there, and it was like 12:30, and I hadn't done anything dumb. I hadn't said anything stupid. Like, it wasn't out of control. And I just remember like this moment being like, you can't keep on doing this. And it was so interesting because nothing happened. And it was like everything went around me silent. And I was like, this just can't be this way, right? Because I felt I wasn't engaged. So woke up that next morning, drove home. It was like an 1.5 hour trip. And like probably honestly that afternoon probably still buzzed, right? I probably drank so much. I probably still had some type of alcohol. So I don't even count that as like my first sober day, because I was still feeling that. And then that next day I was like, you know what? Which is so funny. So we were going to Napa. I was going to do a speaking engagement in Napa and like around Thanksgiving. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to drink until we go to Napa, which is, I love it. It's like just kind of me in a nutshell, right? I'm not going till we go to Napa. And then, so that was what, like 60-ish days. And it started feeling good because, it takes alcohol, I think a week to get out of your system, right? And so you start to feel it. And then Napa got canceled. And so I was like, okay, I'll just continue. And then I was just like, I can't go back. I don't know what it looks like, but I know that I can't go back to what I was doing. I've seen too much. I know too much. And so my first glass of wine, I think, was like on Christmas Day. I had 8 glasses of wine and woke up with no judgment, no loathing. I felt fine because I had water. And then I just kind of continued. I was like, I'm going to give it a year. I tracked, I wish I had, like, this is my current calendar. It's one my mom gives me. Like, I have my little calendar that I like track my days and my drinks. And I had like 32 drinks in a year, which was incredible for me. We moved. I got a new job. Both my grandmas passed away. My dad passed away. So there was a ton of stuff during that time. And I was still able to not have alcohol be a big point in my life. So it's very long how that got started. But that's, and then that year. And I was like, oh, I'm going to keep on doing this. This is great. Like, I don't want to drink.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. And I know that there are people who are listening right now who can resonate with so many of the things that you just said. And I think the thing that I've gleaned most that I just want to underscore is that this journey is so personal that, like, I think you said at the beginning too, is your journey in whatever this looks like is going to be different than mine. and the next person's if we decide to do it. And it doesn't necessarily have to be for eternity. It could be for however long you'd like. And I think one of the most important pieces of this is that self-talk too, right? That's kind of, because it's not even really about the alcohol. It's like almost the drinking is the catalyst for the self-talk. Can you talk more about that? Because having those voices in your head feels like shits. And we don't want to feel that way.
Oh, new Taylor Swift fan, not a Taylor Swiftie. I'm like the newer version, like, hi, I'm the problem. It's me, right? Or like, oh, I'm not. Nobody's making me do this. And that self-talk, right? Because one, it's, you don't fit, like my confidence has soared since I quit drinking consistently. So that piece of, and just the knowing of like, I think I posted, it's the best self-growth work I've ever done in my whole life and probably ever will do. That self-talk, right? Because it's like the physical piece, but it's like, for me, it was continuously letting myself down and not honoring what was important for me. That was like, if I had to boil it down, knowing, Sunday I'm not going to drink. Tuesday night I have a glass of wine. Maybe I feel fine, but still waking up and be like, you said you were going to do that. Like, why do you keep on not honoring what you say is important, right? And then why do you do that? You also did it in this area of your aspect or this area of your relationship. And like, why do you do that? And then you wake up and you hadn't slept well. And you're just like, well, because you can't do that. And then you don't have a good workout and you're tired. Well, it's because you drank. And like, why are you like that? And then it just like the whole day, right? Oftentimes, end of the day, what do? We want to medicate, hard day. And so we're like, well, maybe if I had a glass of wine, it'll help. And it for a split second, it does. And then it like starts the shit all over again.
Yeah. So I want to talk about that too, because that is something that we never talk about as educators. Whatever it is, we don't talk about it because, and we're going to be really transparent here. Educators are put up on this pedestal of just moral superiority. And what that does is it takes away our humanness and it doesn't allow us to talk about the things that are in the shadows sometimes, because we are out of fear to be knocked off of the pedestal, not just to step down the pedestal. Because I think that if you really were to ask someone, they don't want to be up there in the first place. But we're talking even just like scrolling on Instagram and seeing a picture of a teacher having a drink at a bar on their day off. That is scandalous in some places. And so having this kind of conversation about self-medicating is very taboo. And I'm really, really glad that we're touching on it because we need to bring it to light in order to humanize this a little bit.
Yeah, it's complicated, which is why I think it's so important. Like we're talking about, it's like you have to figure out what works for you, but like really be honest with yourself. Is what? Because my brother, and he's great. He's been sober like 2-ish years and there's really been such a good support system. And I was like, I don't know, should I quit drinking? I don't know. Like I felt like all that crap, right? And he was like, Holly, people who don't have a problem don't think they have, or well, I always get this wrong, but like, if you're questioning if you have a problem, you probably do. Because there's people that don't care, that they're like, okay, I have a glass of wine every 3 months and it's like not a thing. Like they never stop to think, do they have a problem? So he's like, the fact that it comes up. So that's where the sober piece comes in. It's like, if you don't feel like you do, like do your thing, whatever, that's great. But if you have that knowing that you're like, this doesn't feel right, there's something not aligned, then that's that space to say, okay, well, what does this look like?
So I want to talk about that and stay there for a little bit about that alignment, because that's something that obviously I talk about a lot. I know you talk about a lot. And this is really about creating a life where everything you do is in alignment with who you actually want to be. You know, in listening to your story and hearing you say things like, I wasn't feeling well, I was having this really terrible self-talk, like that doesn't seem aligned with the Holly that I know you are right now and you want to be in the future. So how does that play a role for you in making decisions around this?
Ooh, thank you for that. And that's a great question. 100% plays in, right? Because I'm sitting there thinking, I want to do all these big things. I have these big dreams. And I'm continuously doing something that I know is holding me back from that. Like every time, like I know that, right? And so it is totally aligned with where I'm going forward, right? Of saying, if I'm a woman who believes my energy matters, my physicality matters, like that is my number one priority in everything I do, is to keep my energetic frequency high, right? But like, I can't be a woman who wants all these things and then does this. Like those are not aligned. So that for me is huge to know, hey, if you're somebody who wants to go out and coach, to start companies, to travel the world, to do all these big things, like booze can't be the thing that holds you back. Like it just can't be. There's other things that are going to hold you back, right? There's other obstacles. You're going to try things that's going to fail. You're going to like not get what you want, all those things. But like you can't purposely put something in that's not going to add to your life. I don't know if that answers your question.
Oh, absolutely it does. Because it's self-sabotage.
1,000%. And it was just this feeling of like, what are you doing? And I think what's important to really say is like on the outside, yeah, maybe some people were like, no, I don't know that anybody would be like, oh, she has a problem, right? Or that affects her, right? So I would still get up, but it was like, I felt like I had 100-pound backpack and I was dehydrated. So it was all fuzzy and I was still going, but it was just hard.
Yeah. And if you're walking up Mount Everest, you want to make it as easy as possible.
Totally. You're just like, oh, and I don't need this at all. It's like, I'm taking Mount Everest with like my Atari, right? You're like, that's not even a thing, right? Like that, I don't need that. I don't need that. Like, I don't need all this stuff. And then, oh, cool. Now I get to go. And it feels a lot better.
Yes. Even just you saying that and thinking about that release of just letting things go. And I know you and I just got back from this incredible retreat where we did this beautiful exercise of letting things go and how much lighter you feel afterwards, and really getting rid of that self-sabotage is just so necessary to continue to move forward at a pace that you want. I mean, that's the thing, whether it's building new companies or speaking on big stages or showing up for your students or being present with your own children or your partner, or being able to like let go and really have these intimate moments with your friends. I mean, this is something that you have a choice about. And if booze is a part of that and it's allowing you to do the things you want to do, awesome. And if it's not, then that's a place where you get to make a choice. So my question now to you is, what is the option then, instead of like bringing on the shitty committee every time you fall off the horse? How do you work around that negative self-talk when you do something that you don't feel really proud of?
Such a good question. It comes with a lot of practice, right? Like I'm still not great at it sometimes. I still can beat myself up of like, oh, why'd you do that? But I think that's why it's important to like start smaller, right? Like start those small goals, knowing you have the rest of, there's a lot of time, like this one little blip on the radar isn't going, most things, yes, there are life defining moments, absolutely. But like most decisions where you're like, dang it, I said I was going to have 2 drinks. Okay, what did I learn from that? Because it's so funny, that year long that I did that, there was one day where I drank, like I had 2 old fashions, but it was also a really emotional time. Like it was like, I just got back from the first powerhouse. My dad had passed away. So I think I was really tired. I was emotionally drained. So I was sitting there with Katie. And that was the only time, because I woke up feeling terrible. And I don't know what else. So it was like, okay, well, what did you learn? Okay, well, one's really all I need, especially of a liquor, right? And I need to hydrate and maybe like not do it when I'm really emotionally. So like taking what I learned and then taking that with me. And we talk about this, but just really being kind to yourself, right? Like you are trying. Look at how much you've done. You've gone 100 days and had 2 drinks. Like you've never done that before. And since you were probably 19 when you got your fake ID, right?
I was 16, actually, Holly.
16. I love it. I don't love it. But it's like, you start and look, you're like, you've been drinking since you were 19, probably. And I'm 42, started this when I was like 41. Like, okay, let's like look at the whole picture. And like, what did you learn? What can you take forward? And I do think when you have a little bit more clarity and you don't have this like underlying current of like anxiety in it, which I didn't think I had a ton of anxiety until I quit drinking. I was like, oh, that added a little bit of that there, right? I wouldn't call me an anxious person. So it's very long-winded. I feel like I'm very long-winded.
You're being thorough and I appreciate it. And I will say, I also appreciate your very specific question, because a lot of times we say, you'll come at this with curiosity, like drop the judgment, like come at this with curiosity, but we don't always know what question to ask. And so this beautiful question of like, what did I learn from this is a perfect question to ask, because then it immediately gets rid of that judgment and you can really start to uncover, okay, well, what are the important pieces of information here? And then it becomes data instead of shame and guilt and added anxiety and stress, which got you there in the first place. So I thank you for offering that question, because that's something that's really important. I do also have to ask one last thing before we kind of wrap up with the last question for the podcast. But when I go to a bar, I don't want to drink. I'm not a soda drinker, and I don't want to be the one drinking water with lemon. What do you drink?
Do you like mocktails?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't even know what is even a mocktail? Like, I don't even know what to ask for. And like, I don't want to, I'm still like at the point, it's funny. I get to the bar and I don't know what to order. And I feel like, again, like I'm 16 with my fake ID being like, I think I heard a gin and tonic is something people drink. Maybe I'll order that. Like, I don't even know what to say.
I love it. No, I'm so glad you asked this question because that's something I realized for me. If I'm going to a setting, I try and get my drink before anybody can offer me a drink, especially if you're not feeling in a place where you're really confident. Like I will like go make myself. I love like a grapefruit and soda because it's usually in a cocktail. And I always ask, can you make me a mocktail? Can I have a grapefruit and soda? Right. And so they'll put it in a cocktail glass, which does totally add to the experience. Right. I'll get a glass of, can I have a sparkling water in a wine glass? A lot of places, which are really cool, are starting to do mocktails. Right. So it's like, hey, can I have a cranberry and soda? Like, if you don't like soda, that can be a little hard. Like, I don't like regular soda, but just like go and just like experiment. Hey, do you have any type of mocktails? What have you made? Okay, I can do this. Sure, I'll try it. Right. But I always go to like a grapefruit and soda because it's like a Paloma, I think. But which Paloma has tequila, this doesn't. But that's kind of like my go-to if there's not anything because it does. And it feels a little refreshing. It is sometimes funny because they bring it up as a juice. And I'm like, I'm a grown woman. Am I drink? I guess technically I am.
We're drinking juice, but that's okay, right? I think maybe finding the levity in that is kind of fun too. Shoot me an email with your favorite mocktail. I am mocktail curious. I would like to know more.
And there are a ton of great alcohol-free wines out there. There are a ton of like canned wines. Like I had a rosé the other day that was delicious. In fact, there is a alcohol-free spirit store here in Houston. I think it's the only one. And it is like has beer, wine, CBD stuff, and it's super fun. So you can get the alcohol-free tequila and make your own mocktails. There's lots of great options.
Yeah, I'm curious to explore, and I really enjoy this space. And I'm really so glad that I've watched you, and witnessed you kind of move through the last year and a half or so. And now that you're here, and it's very, very cool to be having this conversation with you now. And it's an important conversation to have, especially for the audience who's listening today. So thank you for that. And before we go, I do have to ask one last question, which I ask for everybody. And I'm curious to know how you'll answer this because it's from your perspective in our conversation. Thinking about our educators and regarding this conversation we just had, what is your dream for the future of how teachers and educators exist in this space?
That's such a good question. I think educators and first responders above anything are the people that are like making this world go round. And I think just knowing that this is what's coming to me, and I feel like it comes across like kind of constantly, like they deserve better than like treating alcohol as a pill, as a relief, right? That they deserve to feel good in their bodies, that they deserve, and, really kind of questioning, like you said, maybe it doesn't affect, just like, that's great. This may not be for you, but is there a place that you find yourself doing that? Like you deserve to seek other ways of support, of connection, of freedom, of relief. And just knowing that like we've been sold a bill of goods that like alcohol helps everything, that it makes us social, that it cures our anxiety, that it helps us feel better, like all these things. And so I think for me, it's just the realization or the stepping into the thing that they deserve better. I deserved better in my journey, right? And they can define it however they want to.
Yes, I love that. And I'm going to add one piece to it and be supported in the journey for that too, which I think starts in having these beautiful moments like we've had today, having this conversation. So thank you so much, Holly, for your time, your talents. It's always such a joy. I'm glad this was an excuse to chat and get together. And this will be not the last time we do this for sure.
No, yeah, this is great. And like I said, thank you for all you. I know that the people you serve and your listeners are under an overwhelming amount of stress and pressure. And I know that the work you do is so important and that you're helping them know they deserve whatever it is they want in this world. And I love that you bring people in that help reaffirm your message.
Thank you. I fully received that. Holly, how can they get in touch with you?
Yes, my website is hollykrivo.com, HOLLYKRIVO.com. And I'm also on Instagram. And releasing here, I am working on reinvigorating my podcast. I did a child-free podcast into the Soberish Uprising, where we continue to have more of these conversations. So that will be upcoming soon.
Amazing. And all those links will be in the show notes. And if you like today's episode, make sure you subscribe, share with a friend, and we will see you next time on Take Notes.
Incredible, right? Together, we can revolutionize the face of education. It's all possible, and it's all here for you right now. Let's keep the conversation going at Empowered Educator Faculty Room on Facebook.